You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Cabral Concept. Great to have you with me here today. So happy to be able to celebrate the holidays with you, and I'm excited to get into today's topic. Today's topic is one of those things about being an integrative health practitioner that allows you to not have to just use one specific modality in order to help people heal. So one of the things that we're going to be talking about today is, in my opinion, if possible, try not to get sick. Try not to get those colds and flus and infections in the first place. But even if you do, there are other modalities that you can use in order to help the body heal. So we're going to use this in a twofold way. Today, we're going to give you this special concoction that's very easy to make that you can use to ward off those germs and ward off the bacteria. And actually, I'm going to show you that there's some real scientific research behind this specific formula. It is a natural antibacterial, so that's going to help you while traveling, maybe this holiday season or this new year, or whatever trips you have planned up for the coming year. But also, you can use it just right in your home like I do for my family. So this is something that we use as an air-based spray and also in a diffuser. So it's really, really fantastic for kids, for adults, for pets even. I'm going to show you how you can use it with your pets as well. So getting back to what can we use or what do we have available to us if we're an integrative health practitioner? Well, the truth is this, is that if you keep your mind open and you do not close yourself off to any healing factor, any way that we can help people heal, then it leaves you with a multitude of options. So right now, let's just say you're a homeopath. And if you're only able to use homeopathic remedies, well, then that doesn't allow you then to be able to say, oh, acupuncture could be great, or these vitamins and minerals could help replace deficiencies, or maybe this specific liver-based functional medicine detox, or some chiropractic. And again, you don't have to do all of these things, but you have to know how to be able to recommend those. And the same, again, for an acupuncturist. Again, not everything is going to be healed by acupuncture. And again, that's not a slight against acupuncturists, because I believe acupuncturists are phenomenal. And I studied in acupuncture myself in depth, well, through my naturopathic career, and also when I was over in Beijing, China, at a traditional Chinese medicine hospital where we did acupuncture every single day. So although I don't practice acupuncture in the United States, I did over in China, and it was something that gave me a great knowledge base, and I can refer out for when I think acupuncture is the most helpful, and I do acupuncture myself. So there's that, meaning that what I'm trying to say right now is I want everyone to be their own doctor, their own health practitioner, or at least know where to look. And the other big thing is this, is that don't close your mind to anything. You might be totally against energy medicine, or totally against Reiki, or totally against acupuncture like I was talking about, or chiropractic, or whatever it is. Sometimes you just haven't found the right practitioner. Like, that's a big part of it. So a lot of people are turned off by looking at maybe dried blood or live blood analysis under a microscope. Well, you might not have just spoken with the right practitioner of that, because there are levels to it. So when I was first learning microscopy, and I read various things, and a lot of people putting it down, and then I actually studied with two of them, in my opinion, two of the foremost people in the United States studying that, and they were unbelievably knowledgeable. We're not just talking about microscopy, about what all of it means. So that was a huge eye-opener to me. I studied iridology with, believe it or not, the direct lineage of Dr. Bernard Jensen. I mean, I've just, again, met so many incredible people. So I've been able to use iridology. I've been able to use Ayurveda. And today we're going to be talking about some essential oils. Now, we don't always talk about essential oils all the time on the Cabral Concept, and it's certainly not because I don't believe in them. I absolutely do, and there's a lot of great science behind them. But a lot of times when I use essential oils, they're actually in a product like GI Balance. So we have a great product that I formulated for Equilibrium Nutrition called GI Balance. And we use it after lab testing, and we see that there's some residual candida or residual small intestinal bacterial overgrowth or residual H. pylori, whatever it might be. And we use it, and it's great because essential oils are very strong if they're ingested. Now, please do not ingest essential oils unless you're working with a health practitioner and they're giving you a form that's actually ingestible, because essential oils can actually cause damage to the esophagus and stomach lining. And that's because they're extremely, extremely strong and can be quite acidic on the stomach. The body's not able to handle or buffer that. So don't do that unless you're actually using a functional medicine-based product that's specifically formulated to be ingested, because most essential oils, like you're going to hear about with today's topic, is meant to be rubbed on the skin, sprayed in the air, or used in various different ways topically, right? But not necessarily internally. There's a difference. Now, again, you can take some internally. They have to be diluted properly, or you just have to buy a product that you know is again, a trusted company, just like we do every day, right? When we buy food at a restaurant, we trust the restaurant. When we buy, let's just say, a specific type of toothpaste or natural deodorant, we have to trust that company that they're not putting any harmful ingredients in it. So there's always trust that we have to have. Now, how do you get that trust? In my opinion, is that you just know the founders. You get to know their story and what they're all about. And nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. Let's not, assume that. But at the same time, they're trying to do their best. Like, that's it. And that's what I look for. So I go, and then and of course, I make sure that they're third-party tested. What does that mean? Well, when a product is third-party tested, it means that they send out their batch of whatever that is. Let's just say they do like 10,000 units or whatever it is. And they'll send out a couple dozen of those, and they'll go have them tested. And they do that, and they pay for them out of their own money. It costs more money, but the truth is, like I do for Equilibrium Nutrition, I'm going to put these same products in my own body. And I'm going to use them with my family and my 2 young girls, and I'm going to use them in my practice. So a couple reasons. One is I need to make sure they're safe, that there's no heavy metals, there's no contaminants in them, there's no mold, there's no bacteria. Okay, I do that for the CBD products, I do it for everything. And then what I need to do is I need to make sure that the dosage that I want in there is actually in there, that's stated on the bottle. And that's because I use this in clinical practice. So it's not just for sale, this is for clinical practice. I need to make sure that the dosage is in there so that I follow the research and I get people the results that they're supposed to be getting. And of course, that I've been doing now for many, many tens of thousands of appointments. So that's what we do. And that's what I look for in other products as well. Because again, Equilibrium Nutrition is one brand, but there are many other brands out there. So what we're trying to do is the best for people. Okay. So that was a big aside to let you know that as an integrative health practitioner, I believe that you should be able to use the best of everything. And so today we're talking about essential oils, and I love essential oils, and I will start to talk about them more in the coming new year. Well, today's specific one is called Thieves oil. Now, you may or may not have heard of Thieves oil. I have no doubt that you've heard of the ingredients in Thieves oil, but if you heard of the whole formula put together, maybe, maybe not. And if you heard the backstory, because to me, when I first heard of Thieves oil, I'm like, how did that get the name? Because I'm big on, how do things get these names? Because there's always truth to it. Well, many hundreds of years ago, we had something called the bubonic plague. And the bubonic plague really swept through a lot of Asia, to my knowledge, and they shut down the Silk Road. They shut down the trade route. And when the trade route was shut down, there was a lot of spice trade going on. So a group of, let's just call them bandits or so, banded together, and they would actually rob the bodies. So let me just step back a second. The reason that the trade route was shut down was they were trying to control Black Death or the bubonic plague. And they did this by, of course, trying not to have people meet with each other in large groups where it could be spread quickly. But what happened was that, again, a lot of spice trade was going on at that time. So they got shut down, and this was their livelihood. So a group of these spice traders actually banded together, and they would rob the bodies of a lot of the people that died because of Black Death. And they would also break into those people's homes. So they were going directly into infected people's homes or taking the jewelry or taking anything they could find off of people that died of the bubonic plague. So when this group of bandits were caught, I don't know if it was a plea deal or not, but they said, how is it possible that you are not getting sick? And tell us and we'll let you go. It was one of those types of things. I don't know. I think there's a little bit of hearsay around the story, of like what was fully true and what was not. But very interesting. I want to back this up by the research, of course, so that it's not just me, giving you an old wives' tale or something like that. I don't even know the origin of that for specifically. But what happened was they gave them this specific concoction of spices that they used. And this is how it got the name Thieves Oil. So these were thieves going around to the dead bodies of those infected with the plague, with Black Death. That was just rampant, right? So how do they stay healthy? Well, we know that they use, and I'm going to share with those essential oils in just a second, but they use these essential oils, which come from spices. And then they tested this. This is not done too long ago, and I'm going to see if I can find the specific direct study for you as well. But this was done, it was written in the Journal of Essential Oil Research. This was done way back 20 years ago, and it was done at Weber State University in Utah, if you want to look it up. And it showed that the oil actually had a 82% reduction in luteus bioaerosol and a 96% reduction in a aeruginosa. That's absolutely probably not the correct pronunciation of that, but I can actually link up the specific bacteria right here as well, so you can have it in your notes. But multiple studies showing airborne bacteria reduced by 99.6%. 99.6% of airborne bacteria. That's why I'm going to teach you how to use it in a spray, a pump spray in a glass bottle, as well as a diffuser. And it reduced something called Micrococcus luteus bacteria, which is a special name for a type of staph bacteria, believe it or not, that grows inside of most people that are sick, so just keep that in mind, by 82% after 10 minutes of exposure to Thieves Oil. So that's it. So basically, they have this bacteria, they show it growing in a petri dish, they basically spray it or get it in contact with Thieves Oil, and 82%, it was reduced by 82% in just 10 minutes of exposure to Thieves Oil. And then in the air, a 99.6% reduction. So great. Wouldn't that be amazing that if we had a little diffuser going? And again, I've spoken about this before on that essential oil diffuser. I'll link it up today. Why don't I put that in the notes? I think that'll be good for us to do. Today is episode 1054. 1054. I'm going to make sure that we put in today an essential oil diffuser. So I'll put that in for my team here. You will just go to stevencabral.com, 1054 for the diffuser that we use in my home. And then I'm going to give you Thieves Oil to use and the Thieves Oil to make. So now let's just get right into it. What is the Thieves Oil made out of? Well, let's go right into it, and I'm going to teach you how to use it. All right, so different variations of it, but always with these specific ingredients. 1 tablespoon of clove oil. So let me go through the whole thing. 3 teaspoons of lemon oil, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon oil, 1 teaspoon of eucalyptus oil, and half a teaspoon of rosemary oil. Okay, last week, I took you through my mold-based protocol. If you didn't check that out, you have to check it out because mold toxicity is affecting dampness and mold toxicity over 1 in 2 homes in the U.S. and the U.K. It's actually higher in the U.K. because they get even more rain. So if you're in a damp environment, most likely you have some type of at least dampness mold potential overgrowth. Well, I talked about this. One of my secret weapons in my mold protocol that almost no one uses out there is a product called rosmarinic acid or rosmarinic oil. When you say acid, it's just fancy name or a name for an extract of the actual herb itself, right? That's all. So it's not harmful or anything like that. You know, we look at acids and bases. It's just a lower pH. And these lower pH things actually help to kill viruses and bacteria. That's one of the reasons why they work. It's one of the reasons why when we can things, such as like tomato sauce, let's say, it's at a low pH. It's actually at an acid-based pH. Not all acids are bad. That means bacteria can't grow. So no preservatives are actually needed, believe it or not, when you use a vinegar or you use something like that tomato in a can, because the low pH doesn't allow bacteria to grow. So it's a fun little tidbit right there. We have to look at a couple of these things. Okay, so we know lemon and cinnamon, because we've talked about them before, are powerful antioxidants, right? So they kill free radicals. But 2 of the amazing things here are clove oil and rosemary oil. I want to give these a specific due because they are due this merit. And that is that they are antifungal, antibacterial, and they're antimicrobial, which means when you spray them on a surface, okay, it's going to kill the microbes, going to kill the bacteria, and it's going to kill the fungus. Clove oil is so overlooked. We use clove oil in our GI balance. Okay, I spoke about that just before, that essential oil. In our GI balance, We use clove oil, oregano oil, and thyme oil. Thyme oil is another secret one that we use for killing bacteria, but namely fungus. Clove and thyme, oregano as well, work amazingly well on mold and fungus. So if you're doing a mold protocol with your functional medicine practitioner, I would look to make sure that that's in there. And the reason is that they are just fantastic at that. Well, I would say, why do you want an antifungal when you're trying to work on mold? Well, mold is essentially a fungus, right? So if we talk about yeast, and we talk about candida, and we talk about fungus, yeast, mold, fungus, candida, they're all of the same family, right? They're all fungi, and we want to make sure that we use an antifungal to get rid of them. So all of these things, again, when you look in nature, when you look at something such as rosemary or clove or even eucalyptus, we're looking at natural antimicrobial, antibacterial-based properties. They don't always have antifungal properties. I want to carry that over because not everything that's an antibacterial is an antifungal, okay? But in this case, we have antibacterials, antimicrobials, microbes being a lot of the pathogens that could get into our body through the air. Because again, most viruses and bacteria that get into our body are a lot of time airborne. We're breathing them in through our nasal passages, or we're touching them with our hands, and then we're touching our eyes, we're touching our nose, or we're touching our mouths. I mean, think about your kids, right? Their hands touch everything, and then they go right to their eyes, nose, and mouth. Well, that's how we're getting infected, okay? Or we're breathing it in. So what we're going to use today, and I'm just going to read you the list. Today won't be a long podcast. I'm going to read you the list of how to use it, okay? So what I want you to do is just keep in mind, and I'll link them up. So I'm going to link up these specific essential oils. Okay, they're all just essential oils. Of course, you can get them at your local natural health food store. I'm not against that as well. I love natural health food stores. I really do. And I always talk about the one that I go to in Maine all the time because it's a mom and pop shop that's been there over 35 years. Like 35 years ago. Can you imagine that? 35 years ago, like only the people who are really into it in the, what would that be 35 years ago? I can't even remember right now. Like the 80s, right? So the early 80s, people with a natural health food store would have been a lot of those originators. They really started in the 70s, like to pop up. So these people have been there. And in Maine, which is like, it's super not popular even today. Trust me, where I go in Maine, where it's nice and quiet, hardly anybody around, no one up there is really into natural health. And you can judge, you can just see it by all the stores. There's not a lot of stores up there that cater to that. And that's okay. So what I do personally is I try to go there every time that I'm up and I just buy stuff there. You know, I could buy it anywhere, right? I could buy it online. I could buy it anywhere. But I choose to purchase it from there because I really believe in not only investing in these types of stores, but the small businesses as well, not always the big chains. So anyway, a little side right there. So if you go in, you would get an organic clove oil, or wild is always great as well, because not everything is going to be organic. Again, I'm always for whatever works, but wild is oftentimes great, like wild oregano or wild, and that means it's just picked in the wild. So we get clove oil, lemon oil, cinnamon oil, eucalyptus oil, and rosemary oil. Right? So we're not going to use a lot of this, but here's how we're going to make them. We're going to mix all the ingredients together, and we're going to store it in either a blue glass. I like to use a lot of times the blue glass or an amber glass, just that kind of dark brown red glass. And we'll just keep it out of direct sunlight, and then you can use it in a spray bottle, or you can use it in a roller bottle, or you can just keep it in a regular glass bottle and use it in your diffuser. So that's 3 ways that we use it. In my house, we keep it in a spray bottle, and we can spray it on surfaces if we like, although we have a different cleaning agent. And for that, just go to stevencabral.com/podcasts, and you can type in natural cleaner, and you can see the one that we use as a spray in my house. We just use that in amber bottle. That's how we clean our countertops and our kitchen table. We used to use the thyme oil wipes, the 7th generation ones, and now we just use our own natural spray. Not only is it more economical, but it's great, obviously, for the environment too, just not to be using as many of the wipes. But again, you do your best. That's it. So we use ours in a glass spray bottle. We can spray it in the air. We can spray it on doorknobs, especially when people are sick, faucets, handles, all of those things. And then in your diffuser, you can use that in bedrooms and in your living room. That's exactly where we have ours. And then you can also use it in a roller bottle. And you can use it, which I'll talk about, on the bottom of your feet, along the chest, and even behind the ears as well, which we'll talk about in just a moment. So those are 3 great ways to use it. Again, very, very powerful, so you're not going to ingest this directly into your body for sure. All right, so let's get directly into how to use it right now. Okay, so we are going to get into, and I'm just going to list these, run them off pretty quick, And then I'm going to list them all at StephenCabral.com, 1054, of how to use your Thieves oil. And again, if you're using this directly in the body, you're going to use somewhere around 2 to 3 drops typically. If you're using this on a roller, you would just roll whatever infected area that you would need to, about the size of a quarter or so. And then the last part is if you're using it in a spray bottle, you'll add whatever amount of liquid that you would like, typically around 100 ml for either a diffuser or for a spray bottle, a glass spray bottle. And you'll add in about 5 drops of Thieves oil. So really, really simple. Pick your favorite diffuser, pick your favorite spray bottle. Every 100 mLs, you'll add 3 to 5 drops. Everything's between 1 and 5 drops. On the body directly, it's always between 1 and 3, about 2 to 3 drops typically. And then in your diffuser or in a spray bottle, typically 3 to 5 drops for every 100 milliliters of water. And of course, you're able to add that to that natural cleaning solution with the apple cider vinegar or regular white vinegar that I spoke about before. All right, so all of this has come from all of my research, but these top 50, I actually got a great article by a woman named Casey Schwartz. Casey Schwartz, it's Casey with a K. I would say give credit where credit's due, and I will write her name as well on StephenCabral.com/1054 for 50 ways to use your Thieves oil. So the first way is apply 1 to 3 drops around cuts or open wounds to prevent infection and promote healing. Number 2 is mix with a tablespoon of water, gargle, and swallow for a sore throat. And what I would recommend as well, again, a tablespoon of water, only 1 drop is that you would use, because I'm always going to give my aside to all of these, and that's because this is an essential oil. So for children, absolutely do not swallow it, but you can gargle it. My girls, even though they're only 4 years old and 6 years old, they do gargle water and have for a year or so now. And they gargle with whatever they need to for a sore throat, and they spit it out. Again, do not have your children swallow that. Apply to upper chest and throat with a massage oil for chest tightness, and I would say for cough and cold. We use a eucalyptus blend and menthol for the chest when they have a cold as well. Put a drop on your thumb and apply to the roof of your mouth for a headache. There's one more remedy. I'm going through her top 50. Put 4 to 8 drops in a capsule with olive oil and swallow daily for longevity. And again, this is not something that I would particularly recommend, but since I'm giving you the top 50, I'm giving you that altogether. I do not recommend taking this internally unless you're working with a qualified practitioner and you're getting their brand for internal use. I wouldn't make it on your own. For skin blemishes, and then apply to the skin directly with that massage oil. And when they say massage oil, you can literally just put 2 to 3 drops like we do in some olive oil or jojoba oil, like we use our GSC or we use tea tree drops, and we put it in about even just a teaspoon, I should say, with 2 to 3 drops. And we apply it to an infected area like I just did for my periorbital dermatitis that I got, right? So I was using citricidal drops and tea tree drops as well. What else do we have? And that's for skin blemishes, a couple drops directly on the soles of your feet to prevent colds and flu. We do that all the time. So a little essential oils, such as Thieves oil, on the bottom soles of the feet. Rub it right in. Diffuse in your home to keep the bacteria down. Breathe in the vapors if you have lung congestion. So basically, you can use this in a humidifier if you choose to, if you have some congestion. Of course, if you're using a humidifier, make sure that it's cleaned regularly so you're not blowing mold into the environment and bacteria. Use for cleaning pet cages and other environments to keep them clean. You can use for a little bit in your dish detergent or your dish washer. You can add to your laundry for even cleaner clothes. You can use it to mop the floor with, and that will help kill bacteria. You can use 8 to 12 drops in a 4-ounce spray bottle to repel insects on your flowers and plants. So basically, you can use this as a natural pesticide by spraying it on your own plants. Used to dissolve adhesives on price tags. Interesting. Applied to bee and wasp stings to neutralize the pain. That actually works exceptionally well. Apply to gums and teeth. And I'll just add to this, and it works great for toothaches. And the reason why it works great for toothaches is because clove is a natural anti-pain medication for toothaches. Cloves have always worked great. We would have people bite on a clove, chew on a clove, and it works great for toothaches. All right, next up, again, apply to the gums and teeth. We just talked about that. Number 20 is this. Diffuse 15 to 30 minutes daily in homes or business to solve smells and germs. So it works great as a deodorizer. Add 1 drop to orange juice and drink to reduce phlegm and congestion. And I would say if you're adding it to orange juice, that better be fresh pressed, not store-bought. And I would say there are other juices that you could do well, maybe even like a immune shot, which would be ginger, lemon, and you could do a little turmeric in there if you wanted to, and some cayenne. That would work great. Applied to bone and joint-based pain. Applied to a cup of tea for flavor and to maintain health. Put on the tip of your tongue to help stop smoking. I don't know about that in particular, but interesting. Put on cold sores to help them heal. For warts, 2 to 3 drops to make them disappear. And you would have to do that for weeks if you wanted to test that out. Add it again into a little bit of massage-based oil to relieve some pain on the joints. Place a drop in a glass of water to prevent, it says yucks. I might just be unfamiliar with yucks, what yucks are. Maybe that's a terminology that Casey uses, but I don't, maybe this is a cold. Yucks particularly, I'm not exactly sure. Let's see. Yucks to me always meant like laughing and types like that, but diffuse in your house every day to help calm your children. Use with coconut oil, and you can rub it on shingle-based pain. Apply a drop for a cat or dog wound. Diffuse in your home to stimulate a cheerful mood. Diffuse in your home or office to work for concentration and efficiency. You can diffuse in your place of business to ward off germs. Same with classrooms as well. Put a few drops in your carpet steamer to disinfect carpets. Mix 1 to 2 drops with honey or blue algae in a teaspoon for cough relief. And we've got some great cough relief ones as well. Breathe and apply for sinus-based headaches. Put a drop on a pimple to make it shrink and disappear. For the loss of voice, put a drop under your tongue. Inhale for regular relief of allergy symptoms. Take a vegetable capsule full every day for relief of symptoms or illness. And again, I just want to give that caveat. I would not use it internally unless working with a healthcare-based practitioner. Carry a bottle on a flight to protect yourself from germs on the plane. That's something that I do for sure. Put a few drops on tissue. Place it near your heat or AC vents of a hotel or your own home to remove those airborne germs, meaning like whatever's blowing through those vents, it can help to diffuse and stop those bacteria and germs. Apply 1 drop to an infected wound to make it clear up. That's a repeat. Make several drops with baking soda to clean bathtubs. Apply to the toes and feet to combat foot fungus. And apply to poison ivy rashes or to relieve the itch. That is 50 ways to use your Thieves oil. Hopefully this was helpful. Again, bottom line is this. Look to all modalities in order to help heal you and your family. This is just one more thing you can use, and it's so simple to do. I will link up, if you want to make it yourself, I'll link up the recipe at stevencabral.com/1054. And if you would like to pre-buy your Thieves oil so that you don't have to make it, I will link that up as well as the diffuser to begin using in your home. Take care, everyone. Enjoy, and I'll be back tomorrow. Ever wonder what the best sauna, blue blockers, sleep trackers, wake lights, salt lamps, or other health gadgets are? Or what about the top non-toxic mattresses, sheets, soaps, bath products, toothpaste, and cookware? Or would you like to know the cleanest choices for hemp hearts, meal delivery services, supplements, and much more? I personally curated, researched, and now created a resource page of all of my top picks that continues to grow each week. These are the exact products I use in my own life, with my family, in my private practice, and they're the ones I trust. To find out all of my up-to-date recommendations and all the details, simply head on over to stevencabral.com/resources.